One day, I got the call that my husband had been in an accident. What shocked me more than the accident itself was finding out that his mistress had been in the car with him. The mistress died, and my husband ended up paralyzed. Amidst all this, he had the nerve to ask me to take care of him for the rest of my life because of a mistake he made while cheating. No way, I thought to myself. Just you wait. My name is Rachel, 32 years old. I live with my husband Jeff and our almost 5-year-old daughter, Lindsay. I had left my job when I got pregnant, but went back to work when she started preschool. Life is hectic with work and childcare, but I've been managing and feeling fulfilled, all thanks to Jeff. He's been working hard and taking great care of Lindsay, doing his best as a husband, a father, and the head of our household. Eating dinner and listening to her stories after getting home early has become a daily routine for us.
Hey, Daddy, listen. I drew a picture at preschool today.
Is that so? I know you're a great artist, sweetheart. Draw me next time, will you?
Okay. And guess what? Tiffany said they went to an amusement park. I want to go too.
An amusement park, huh? Well, how about we go on our next day off?
Yay! I love you, Daddy.
And I love you too, kiddo. Well, right after Mommy, that is.
He said, winking at me. She puffed her cheeks out like she was upset. These ordinary moments with my family are my greatest treasure. I started to notice a change in Jeff, though. He began coming home late and leaving early on weekends. At first, I thought it might be a coincidence, but the suspicious behavior was too frequent. So I decided to confront him. Hey, honey, you've been coming home late. Busy at work?
Yeah, new projects and stuff.
I see. But you also rush out early in your days off without telling me where you're going.
That's because I've been visiting my,
Who?
My parents. Just checking if they're okay.
Oh, your parents? It's true they're not young anymore. But it seemed odd because we usually visit his parents together every few months, and they've been in good health. Why has he been visiting them so often recently? Despite my doubts, I didn't push the issue any further that day. 2 weeks later, Jeff texted that he'd be late again due to work. He didn't get home until past midnight, but something about him was off. What have you been up to?
I told you, I was working late.
Then why do I smell perfume on you?
Perfume?
Yes, a woman's perfume. How come you smell like that if you were just working?
Oh, well...
He shifted his gaze. It was obvious he was flustered. Just when I tried to press him more, he blurted out.
Well, there was a dinner with a client.
A dinner? He nodded repeatedly.
Yeah. The client was a woman. You know how scents can transfer.
Then why didn't you just say so? There was no need to lie about working late.
I felt bad knowing you were home taking care of everything. Sorry for worrying you. I didn't mean to lie.
I couldn't press him further, especially since I had work the next day, so we left it at that. But from then on, I noticed the scent of woman's perfume on him whenever he came home late. He always had the same excuse.
I had a dinner meeting.
My suspicions grew. Then one day, I decided to leave Lindsay and my parents and meet up with my sister Christine. As soon as we sat down in a cafe, I brought up my concerns about Jeff. Lately, he's been coming home late and I smell women's perfume on him. Sounds like he's cheating. Yeah, I thought so too. She nodded, looking me straight in the eye. I had my suspicions, but hearing it from someone else definitely made my doubts stronger. He's cheating on me, isn't he?
First off, he must have been close enough to her to get her perfume on him.
Right.
Sis, I know it's hard with Lindsay and everything, but you should really talk to Jeff.
I think so too. Suddenly she said,
Hey, look.
What? What's wrong?
Speak of the devil. Isn't that Jeff?
Where? I looked where she was pointing, and I saw my husband with a younger woman, her arm tightly wrapped around his. I was speechless at the cruel scene before me while my sister started taking photos with her phone. Oh, what are you doing?
Don't just sit there. We need evidence.
Huh?
Just get your phone out. I'll take pictures and you get a video.
Urged by her, I shakily launched the camera app on my phone. My husband and his mistress were arm in arm, getting into the car and kissing repeatedly inside. I captured every moment of this on video. After the car drove off, I stopped recording, holding in my hands the proof of my husband's infidelity. Tears began to fall as I sat in the cafe, momentarily forgetting where I was. My sister, after a moment of silence, firmly said,
Sis, I know it's hard, but you need to have a serious talk with him.
I know, I do, but...
This is also for Lindsay's sake. Can you really let a man who lies and cheats so easily remain a father?
For Lindsay... Her words snapped me back to reality. Right, I'm the only one who can protect her. He is her father, but I need to resolve this quickly. Now that I know about his actions, he doesn't deserve to be a father. After discussing with my sister, we decided to let my daughter stay with my parents for the night. I waited for my husband to come home, but he never did. Then after 10 p.m., our rarely used landline rang. Puzzled, I answered it to hear a man's voice.
Is this the Gray residence?
Yes. Who is this?
The police. I'm calling about Jeff Gray, your husband.
Oh. Is my husband in trouble?
I'm going to tell you something, but I need you to remain calm. Your husband has been in an accident.
What? According to the police, he had crashed while driving, and the woman in the passenger seat died. He was taken to the local hospital. I rushed to the hospital immediately. There I learned he was in surgery in the emergency room. A police officer approached and explained the situation.
It seems that your husband and the deceased woman had a close relationship.
I see, I replied dully. Then the officer looked puzzled and asked,
Did you have any suspicions?
Yes, I just gathered evidence of his affair today.
Is that so? Well, this is difficult to say, but the accident may leave him with some disabilities.
That's enough. The conversation with the police also revealed that the woman involved in the affair was married. The woman's husband, who had arrived at the scene, looked visibly upset, conflicted by the fact that Jeff was the only survivor. A few days later, my husband regained consciousness for the first time since the accident. Upon receiving the call, I went to the hospital with my parents, sister, and daughter. Leaving my daughter with my sister, only my parents and I entered his room, where we found my in-laws already there. As explained, Jeff had suffered paralysis on one side of his body due to the accident.
Sorry. I seem to have caused you all a lot of worry,
he said, looking sorry. Before I could reply, his parents rushed to his bedside.
What are you apologizing for? It's a miracle you're alive. Just being alive is a win.
That's right, Jeff. You've always been a good man, and that's why you've been spared. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I'm really glad I made it.
he said, as if the affair never happened. My worry turned to anger, and I finally spoke up. Sorry to break up the happy moment, but Jeff, I want a divorce.
Huh?
Here, I've brought the divorce papers. Can you sign them?
Divorce? What are you talking about all of a sudden?
All of a sudden? You had an accident with your mistress, and you're asking me that?
No, it's not like that. The woman was just a colleague, not my mistress.
He started to spew desperate lies. Did he think he could hide the truth from me? I confronted him with the facts. Still trying to deny it? I already know about your affair.
I'm telling you I didn't cheat.
You were at a cafe with her during the day before the accident. I saw you two get into the car together.
No, that's not...
No excuses. I raised my voice, forgetting I was in a hospital room. You gave up your time with Lindsay to see your mistress. What were you thinking? My mother-in-law intervened with a scowl.
What are you so angry about, Rachel? If he cheated, it must be your fault.
What? Do you hear yourself?
Jeff just regained consciousness. Besides, you heard from the doctor, right? He's paralyzed now.
And what does that have to do with our divorce?
You'll need to dedicate yourself to his care now. If you have time to talk about divorce, you should be studying how to care for him.
Exactly.
He agreed, taking her side.
You're going to be the one to take care of me as my wife.
That was the moment any sympathy I had left for him vanished instantly. Initially, I did feel sorry for him getting into an accident, even though he had cheated to end up paralyzed. But now I couldn't care less. They didn't feel a shred of guilt towards me, only concerned about their own future. Holding back my urge to yell, I addressed my mother-in-law. Are you serious? Who would willingly take care of a cheating fool?
A cheating fool? How dare you speak about my son like that?
Well, it's the truth. He cheated, caused an accident, all his own doing.
But even if the accident was his fault, the cheating was caused by...
So it's my fault he cheated? Despite working hard for our family, juggling jobs, childcare, and household chores, it's still my fault? And you still defend your son?
Oh, well, that's...
Her voice faded as I stood my ground firmly. Seeing her falter, my husband yelled at me.
How can you say such things to my mother?
As if he thought he was the most important person here, glaring at me. I confronted him, towering over him with pressure. He mumbled fearfully.
What do you want?
Have you gone completely out of your mind? Who do you think caused all this?
Well...
It's your fault for betraying our family and cheating. How stupid can you be having an accident with your mistress? You're truly an idiot.
What did you say? This mess started because you suddenly wanted a divorce.
Even now, he felt no guilt. Disgusted, I spat out. Enough with your nonsense, jerk. How far will you go blaming others? It's clearly your fault for cheating. And to cause an accident that took away the life of your mistress, you have no effing right to justify yourself.
Rachel?
You've destroyed our family with your careless affair. Do you realize how much this will affect our daughter? You've hurt not just me, but her too. I can't stay married to a scumbag like you. Go to hell, you miserable jerk. As I finished, he was speechless, turning pale. While I was catching my breath, the door opened and my daughter walked in.
Lindsay, why are you here?
Sorry, sis. I looked away for a moment and she...
My sister followed, apologizing. Seizing the opportunity, my husband turned to our daughter.
Lindsay, you don't want us to be apart, right?
What do you mean?
You wouldn't like it if Mommy and Daddy were separated, right?
After pondering, she declared,
I just need Mommy.
At her words, he let out a dumbfounded, "Huh?"
Because Mommy looks sad when she's with you, Daddy. You're doing something to make her sad, right?
Well, that's,
I don't like a daddy that makes Mommy sad. I don't need you, Daddy. I want to be with Mommy.
No.
He was speechless at her words. Without further words, he lay back, deflated. I presented the divorce papers again, and he signed them resignedly. Later, I sought legal counsel for compensation for his infidelity and child support. The affair had costly consequences for him, including a significant settlement demanded by the mistress's husband. His affair, especially with a junior from his company, led to his dismissal. It wasn't just an affair. He took a woman's life, so it's only natural he faces the consequences. His double compensation drained his savings, and now he's living in a cramped apartment with his parents who care for their wheelchair-bound son daily. Meanwhile, considering my daughter's mental well-being, she and I decided to stay with my parents for a while, planning to live on our own again once things settled. On the way to daycare, I finally asked what had been bothering me. "Lindsay, are you really okay?"
With what?
"With Daddy not being around. Is it really okay for it to be just you and me?" She smiled brightly and said,
I love Mommy the most. I hate anyone who makes Mommy sad.
"Is that so? I love you very much too, sweetie." She hugged me tightly, and I hugged her back, promising to protect her with my life.